Give a couple more minutes for folks that are still needing to come in, either through here or through Zoom. Great to be having our very first class on a Friday. Not as I was expecting, but that's okay. We'll be able to get all caught up and continue to work through the quarter. It can be a combination of nice and also weird. I think this is the first day of the week where we haven't had any delay or cancellation or anything like that happen. When I was a student, I was in a psychology class. We had like this big research project that was due right after the winter break. And I was so far behind, there was no way that I was going to get it in. And like the night before, we get this snow warning, and classes are canceled for the entire week. And in that week, I basically did the entire assignment because I hadn't really started it back right before it was due. So I also know that getting some extra time off for winter weather and all of that can be a lot of fun too. So thankfully, things do seem like they're melting a little bit, and hopefully we will have a little bit more stability as we move forward. So we're at 1 o'clock. Let's go ahead and get started for today. So if you're here for small group communication with Dr. Benjamin Mann, that's me. You're in the right place. You're welcome to call me Ben, Dr. Mann, or Professor Mann, whatever works best for you. Glad to have you all here. Again, I appreciate your patience as we've been working through this very interesting week. So I'll give you a couple updates about how that impacts the class and how we'll be able to move forward in the class with a slightly late start. But I do want to start out with an opportunity that I think will be kind of fun for us to get to know each other a little bit better, and also for us to start to think a little bit about the class. So what I'm going to be doing is splitting you into small groups. So the way this works is the group that over the course of 10 minutes finds the most similarities between each other. Each member of that group will get 3 points extra credit. And the team that finds the most interesting similarity between all the group members will also receive 3 points of extra credit. So we'll choose one with the most points, and then the one that has the most interesting points in common. And again, each of those will get 3 points of extra credit. The most interesting one in my last class was everybody in a group had killed a pet fish. So we'll see if we'll top that for this class. So let's go ahead and split up into groups. So why don't we do 1, 2, 3, 4? Why don't we do 1, 2, 3, 4? Why don't we do 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5? And then folks on Zoom, we will make you all a pair, and I'll free to break out rooms for you. So go ahead and start physically moving over into your groups. And I will start a timer. You might have one person in your group who serves as a scribe who writes or types.
I think there's 5.
Yeah, so there's 4 to 5 in every group, except for folks on Zoom. All right. So team with the most, 3 points. Team with the most interesting detail gets 3 points. 10 minutes. 3, 2, 1, go.
Yeah. Oh, yes. I like going.
Yeah. Fruits or vegetables?
Cats or dogs? Dogs. Your dogs.
Neither.
Good strategy, like these kind of questions. Fruit or vegetables, what do you think? To get-
Yeah, that's hard.
What did you say?
Seems like y'all are like getting to know each other and define, where the similarities might be. Strategy.
I'm more into this. Under. Yeah, that is. Good work.
Teams are like,
Well, there's different types, right?
Good. Good list so far, it looks like.
We hope so.
Yeah. I know, I even said it too.
I can't put out board games. Oh, I do like it.
or if it's something really wrong, I'm like, I might as well call you. My guy's older,
I'm probably the oldest, though. With like something that I control.
that does count.
Because I have that.
I feel like listening to music.
No.
Really? Am I supposed to say this? Every time. It's weird. I don't try to, it happens to just. Silence.
Everything else awesome.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Any meme makers?
All right, so you've got just under 5 minutes left.
Okay, what's your favorite genre? Okay, like Marvel. We watch Marvel Mania. I'm so mad about the ending now.
I think it's strong.
I work both.
Yeah, it's like.
Solid was so far.
And I really like that. I was because of their. That's true. Like,
One more question.
Yes.
What's one more question? Okay, some sort of
Oh.
chatbot.
Got that
We got it.
now. Ah, here's something. Y'all are stuck with me. That's awesome.
I know.
Yes.
Oh,
I had exotic. I mean, exotic.
All right, 1 minute left.
Now I have one point 4 green lights.
Yeah, I have.
So the dreaded sound you might have heard this morning. All right, so pens down, we're at time. So I will have you all share in just a minute, but I do want to give you all the chance to introduce yourselves to us. So what I'd like us to do is we'll go through each group and we'll have each person in the group introduce themselves. And then after that, we'll have that group share their list. All kind of work through the list. We'll find out which group had the most. So the team that had the most will then get to decide together on the team that has the most interesting similarity. So let's go around the room. So for folks in a group, start by sharing your name, where is home for you, and then lastly, a small group that you're a part of. For instance, a club, an activity, maybe sports team or something else that you're involved in on campus. So as an example, right, I'm Ben. Home for me is a town called Westland. It's just outside of Portland, about 20 minutes away. It's where I was born, lived for 22 years, and still have family near. A small group that I not currently a part of, but was in the past is speech and debate. I really love doing speech and debate, coaching it, and working with the team. So again, introduce yourself, and then once everybody in your group has done an introduction, we'll hear the similarities. So let's start here.
Oh,
Yes.
Hi, my name's Brooke. I am from Hermiston, and a small group I'm a part of right now is the Women's Outdoor Program.
So thanks, Brooke. I know for a few of you, you've had a class with me before, so it's great to see folks back, and also great to see some new faces.
My name's Elena. I'm from Stanwood, Washington, and I'm a part of the West.
Awesome. Thanks, Elena.
My name is Josie. I'm from here. And I guess for Eastern, I'm not sure if it counts, but I was invited to like the National Honor Society of Leadership and Success.
Congratulations. That's great. Thanks, Jesse.
I'm Olivia. I'm from Blackfoot, Idaho. That's like southeast.
Uh-huh.
And then I'm on the women's basketball team here.
Awesome. Great. So now we've heard from you before. Why don't you go ahead and share your list with us?
Okay, so dogs over cats. Our favorite colors are blue. We all brown hair. We're all from small towns. We prefer pens over pencils, outdoors over indoors. We all like fruit. We all like smoothies. We all prefer the beach over the mountains. We like Adidas more than Under Armour. We like jeans more than dresses. And then we all wear glasses. We've all rolled ankles before. Right? It's kind of weird. We prefer call over text. We are all the oldest in our families, so that's kind of weird too. And we all have siblings. We all play sports. We are all Marvel fans. We prefer pizza over spaghetti.
Socks.
Oh, short socks. Okay, yeah, we like short socks over long socks. Energy drinks are yes, silver jewelry over gold jewelry, cars. We all have small cars, and our years are all here, so it's 24 total.
24. Good job. Yeah, that's cool. And I noticed as well in your group, you like your strategy was this or this, and you were like working through those and trying to find similarities there. Smart strategy. I like it. Welcome. Glad to have you all here. Brooke, Elena, Josie, and Olivia. Let's have this group back there. So introduce yourself and then share your list.
My name is JB Simon. I'm from Western Peninsula, and I'm part of North Carolina.
Awesome.
My name is Ryan. I'm from Bend, Oregon, and I'm one of the RAs.
My name is Luby. I am from Sunnyside, Washington. I'm an RA and I'm part of the People.
Awesome.
My name is Kenna. I'm from Prineville, Oregon, and I am on the track team.
Great. Thank you all. So this is JP.
Yeah.
B or P, sorry. P. JP.
B.
Okay, JP. Got it. JB, Ryan, Lube?
Luby.
Luli. Got it. And Kenna. All right, share your list.
All right, we're all wearing necklaces. We all have iPhones. None of us have our nails painted. We're all wearing socks. We're all wearing jackets. We all go to EOU. We're all in this class. We all have shoes with laces. We're all wearing masks. We all have siblings. We're all wearing underwear. We're all wearing blue. We all have an Instagram. We all have a Snapchat. We all hate Zoom. We've all traveled outside of Oregon. We've all traveled outside of the country. We're all tired. We all own a vehicle. None of us own a fish or ever have. We all have been in relationships. We all have had a surgery before. We all like coffee. We all hate celery. We all graduated high school. None of us have been held back. We all ate lunch today. It's 27.
All right. Ryan, it was like a machine gun. It was great. There are also some like groans from other people. They were like, oh, yeah, we do all go to EOU. Like y'all got the easy ones down too. And that was pretty good. All right, let's group over here.
I'm Gavin Leap. I'm from Happy Valley, and a small group I was a part of was like this fire training program.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. Really important stuff.
My name's Gabe. Home is Stanwood, Washington, And I'm on the track team.
Manuel, I'm Adrian, and I'm also on the track team.
My name is Caleb. I'm from Ontario, Oregon, and I don't do any sports or clubs here, but the last one I was a part of would be my jiu-jitsu.
Awesome.
I'm Noah Bryant. I'm from North River, Oregon. And I'm part of the 45th Parallel here, which is a jazz group.
Yeah, there's another member of that group in my previous class, Jacob, I think.
Yes. Jacob
Yeah,
Dow.
yeah. Cool.
He plays Google.
Awesome. So, awesome. So is it Gavin? Gavin. And Gabe, Manuel, Caleb, and sorry, can you repeat your name one more time?
Noah.
Noah. Okay, go ahead and share your list with us.
Played sports, played sports in the past, we've worn boots, we've all had a dog. We all have worn, we've all worn hats, we all have socks on. Everyone likes video games, everyone has a phone, everyone likes dogs, everyone has Facebook, everyone has a backpack, everyone has a mask, everyone has pants. We're all late night people, we're all caffeine drinkers, we've all been out of state, everyone has a driver's license, we all listen to music, we all read a book. Everyone's watched a movie, we've all been studying, we all like SpongeBob, we all like jokes, we all graduated high school. We like Marvel, we like Batman, we like Superman, we all have the same teacher, we've all been hunting, that's 28 total.
28. Wow. Awesome. So we also have a couple folks that are joining us on Zoom. Feel free to jump in about your things in common.
That one was a little too far, but threw it in there.
Very low hanging fruit.
Like we have one.
We did have you all fit.
Isabella and Angela.
So maybe the Mola.
We all like every single superhero, so we're just gonna be listing them off.
We gotta do to win.
So it looks like the Zoom. Oh. I'll hear them at all. I thought I heard something.
Hey,
Oh my god.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah, let me turn it down a little bit. Yeah, try that again.
hi.
Hi there. Good to hear from you, Angela. Do you want to do a quick introduction and then share some of the things that you had in common?
Yeah, so my name is Angeline and home for me is Hawaii and I'm a part of the wrestling team. And wait, do I wait for Isabella to share?
Yeah, are you here?
My name's Belle. I'm from North Powder and I'm in Ag Club.
Awesome. Yeah, feel free to share your list.
Okay, so you guys all went like above and beyond, like what the heck? But we just talked and we both wrestled when we were younger and we're not in class because both our PCR test results hasn't come back yet. And we're both on athletic teams here at EOU. We have the same amount of siblings and yeah.
Okay. Well, hey, I appreciate you both joining us through Zoom and thanks for being responsible and waiting on your test results. And thanks for sharing a little bit about us, about you all for the group. So looks like at 28, our group over here has the most. So you all will receive 3 points of extra credit at 28. What I would like you all to do now is I'll give you a minute to confer and decide on another group that in your opinion had the most interesting thing in common. So of the 3 other groups that you've heard from, take a second, come to an agreement about who that group is, and then we'll give the other extra credit points to them.
Is your guys' official one?
Yeah.
Never like this. Never.
Like
Not from a fair at all.
No.
I always forget this.
Like a school, like having that.
I mean, it's like, imagine a discount.
So it sounds like we might have an agreement, right?
Never active.
I think it's weird people that.
What's your guys'
I don't know
name?
which one who has on the trip. Bro, we're all the oldest in our family, that's kind of weird.
That was kind of cool.
I
That
mean,
was
kind
kinda
of,
cool.
yeah. Let me just only visit. I mean, we all wear glasses, that's kind of weird. Not Wait, are all of us supposed to be picking another group or just the group?
Just them,
Oh.
since they already got the 3 points for the other. All right. Do y'all have an agreement?
My vote is fish.
Okay. Well, I thought being the oldest is a really cool one too, though. So we'll give it to the fish group, but there will be more opportunities for like little extra credit things and like that as well that'll come up. So just kind of a fun way to get us started. So thanks for sharing. And it's good to hear and get to know all of you a little bit better. So I really appreciate that. This activity was not only fun to get to know us better, but also because y'all just did obviously small group communication. There were some really interesting things that I noticed, right? Some of the ways that you all went from general to specific in your questions, like really basic stuff to get to know each other. Some of the strategies and ways that you delegated responsibility, like the person that was writing and tracking information. And you were in this, as we'll talk about in just a minute, a storming state where you were trying to figure out, hash out your differences, figure out what you had in common, and kind of get to a good place where you were able to build those skills. And so figuring out what your strategy was as a group and the things you're going to focus on and find similarities on was a really interesting trend that I noticed in how you all chose to approach this. So thanks for doing this and getting us started. So to tell you just a little bit about me and where I'm coming from in this class. So as I mentioned, I grew up in West Lynn, just outside of Portland, and really kind of enjoyed living in Oregon, always wanted to go back to the state of Oregon. But I thought I was going to be an English teacher, but I fell in love with competitive speech and debate. I really loved like using argumentation and advocacy for things that you really care about. So I went the communication route. I moved to Stockton, California, did a master's for a couple of years. And then after that, I lived in Salt Lake City for 5 years, where I completed a PhD in communication from the University of Utah. And I'm an assistant professor here at EOU now. I started last fall and really enjoyed it since moving here in September in the Grand. So it's been a lot of fun. So as far as what I do, I am really interested in rhetoric, persuasion, and critical cultural issues. One really big area that I focus on is disability communication, including the ways that folks with disabilities use things like social media to advocate for health and things they care about. In fact, I'm teaching a brand new class this spring called Communicating Health and Science. It fulfills a social science credit. If you're interested in learning more, feel free to send me an email and I'm happy to send you along the syllabus. And again, I'm really involved in speech and debate. I coached the team at the University of Utah down here, awesome group of folks, and they won a national championship in 2016. It was really fun to get to know and work with them. And so that's something that I'm hoping to bring to DOU next year. See how that goes. So this is my dog, Sylvie. She's a silver Labrador retriever. She's very cute. She also has loved the snow. She loves going outside and rolling around in the snow. But if there's too much snow and the weather is too bad, she does not want to go out. She you open the door and she just kind of looks at you and says, well, I need to go out, but I don't want to go out. And it's a very fitting way to describe how I felt this past week or two. So for today's class, I do want to talk a little bit about the syllabus and just some things to expect from the class. I know going over the syllabus is kind of boring, but I do want to make sure that we're on the same page about some things to expect. And I'll also be going over some key ideas in small group communication. Ordinarily, we go through all this stuff by the end of the week. So there'll be a few threads that we'll pick up next week, and we should be on track after that. So what I'd like to do now is share the front page of Canvas, including the syllabus, to help kind of guide you around and know what to look for this class. So you should have received the invitation to access the course through Canvas. I know that all of your professors probably don't use Canvas in very different ways. So I just like to be transparent about how I use Canvas, what you should expect to see there, and how you can access material for the class. So if you check out the front page, right, I like to use just an easy schedule grid on the front page. This shows you the date, the topic that we're discussing during that day. Over the course of the class, I will post videos of the recording right after class, and I'll also post the slides from that day before the class starts. That way, if you use a device, you can track the slides around, and that way you don't feel like you're in a big rush to get everything done, right? So you can access the slides right after class, so don't feel like you need to take notes on everything super quickly. And then I typically post video within an hour of class ending. If you can come to class face to face, great, awesome, please do so. If you're not able to come face to face, do what our two folks did and join us through Zoom. And if you can't do either of those things, like you're at an activity or an event, or you're really sick, right, you'll be able to watch the video and complete a makeup assignment to make up credit. You get 3 unexcused absences. Anything beyond that, I would ask you to do the makeup assignment. You'll also notice right here, right, is the reading. So I divide the readings up by week. So basically in any given week, I would want you to complete the reading by the end of the week, right? If you complete it sooner, that's great. It'll help guide you through that content, but it will be due by the end of the week. Y'all are college students. I've been there. I know that like it's super expensive. And so whenever I can, I try to prevent you from having to buy textbooks. So you do not need to purchase any textbooks for this class. All the readings are available for free on Canvas. So this reading, right, ordinarily, before this winter stuff, it would have been due along with the week 1 quiz by this Sunday. But because of the weather and all of that, I've extended that out until Wednesday. So each week I offer a quiz. That quiz is open note and open book. You're welcome to read through or keep your tabs open or whatever. You'll just take it and it'll cover content from that week's readings. So this first quiz covers content from this right here, PDF that goes over some things in small group communication, and also covers things on the syllabus. So just review those, have them open as you're working through the quiz, and you'll be in great shape. I also posted kind of a short welcome video on Monday, just to help acclimate you to the course for reasons of all of the winter closures and stuff. You'll click this link if you need to join us through Zoom. If you miss class and want to complete the makeup assignment, you can do that there. The syllabus, right, or the instruction manual for the class is right here. And then I offer office hours, both face-to-face and through Zoom at the exact same time. So what I'll do is I'll be up in my office upstairs in Ackerman, 204C. If you want to join me and talk like about the content, if you're falling behind, if you want to share a draft or an idea, if you're concerned about your grade in the class, you're welcome to drop in face-to-face, or you can join this Zoom meeting and do it remotely if that's easier for you. So I'll have that Zoom meeting open while I'm up there in my office during that. So for the syllabus, again, the instruction manual, here's my email. I prefer that to using the phone, although you can call me if you need to. These are my hours. I'll always be in my office during those times. But if those times don't work for you, right, that doesn't mean that I can't meet with you. It just means we'll set up a different time to meet. I try to respond to emails pretty quickly. I get that within 48 hours. Typically, I'll do that a lot sooner, but just think about that window in mind. I teach 4 classes, so sometimes things start to pile up. I'm not going to go through everything, but just a few major highlights. So COVID, right, unfortunately still a thing. Omicron variant is super contagious and has been spreading a lot. So please, I know wearing a mask is not fun. I don't enjoy it either, but hopefully we can continue to do what we're doing and have things go away. If you're waiting on a test result or you're feeling sick, please don't come to class. Please join us through Zoom. You can either join us through there or do the recording if you cannot make it through Zoom either. So be talking through just a range of different topics and issues. I fully support, right, the diversity of students' experiences that you all might come from, including race, gender, disability, sexuality, sexual orientation, and so on. Please check your email regularly, right? I'll use that for updates related to the class, including if I need to cancel or there's anything that comes up. That's stuff about my office hours. You can use tech for taking notes, following along, just don't let it distract yourself or other folks. So for those of you that have taken the class with me before, something new this quarter, all of you, if you've ever played the game Monopoly, now have a get out of jail free card, right? Everybody gets one, and it can be used once over the course of the quarter. You can turn in any assignment in class, up to 1 week late. You don't need to give me any excuse or explain yourself at all, but you can turn it in up to 1 week late with no penalty. Outside of that, for instance, if you turn it in more than a week late, or you're turning in a regular assignment without the card, each assignment gets -5% for each day it's late. You know, I think fairly fair, not super strict. It's still accept late work, but if there's like an excused reason, then we can talk about it and extend to. I really kind of view this class as kind of like, it's like being a firefighter, right? If you have a fire in your house, what do? You get a fire extinguisher, right? Or you call the fire department as soon as you can and get them to fix it and put out the fire, right? You don't wait for the fire to burn down the house and then it's ashes and then you say, help, there was a fire, my house is rubble. In the same way, right? If you're falling behind in the class, if you need help, the sooner you reach out to me, the sooner that I can do things to support you, to help you, to develop a game plan and to support your success, right? I want everybody to get A's. I want everybody to pass. I want everybody to do well. That is my goal, right? I know it's not necessarily going to happen, but just know that I'm here to help you succeed, especially because, right, I don't know firsthand what it's like to be a student going through COVID. I finished up my degree and graduated right as this stuff was starting. And so I recognize that you all are in a pretty unique and challenging place. Y'all mentioned a lot of you were tired and exhausted and worn out, and I get that. So I want to help you to work through this class. Grading is pretty standard, right? I like to provide some rubrics and guides for your assignments to help you out, as you'll see when we get closer to those assignments. I recommend APA, so please cite your sources for this class. We'll do a couple activities to help you with citing sources. You can use MLA or Chicago if you prefer. I personally prefer APA and would encourage you to use that format. You can turn in rough drafts or outlines on major assignments to me in advance. If you're worried about your grade or you really want to do well, that's an awesome way for you to check in and get a good grade, right? Is to send me a draft. I'll turn around feedback. You can even send a second one if you wanted to, right? Sending me drafts or outlines in advance is totally fine. Just give me enough time to turn that around to you before the assignments due. So we'll be talking a little bit more about some of these assignments as we get closer to them. I mentioned that we have those weekly open note, open book quizzes. We don't have any cumulative midterms or finals or anything like that. So don't worry about cramming. So one assignment to keep on your radar is at the end of the third week of class, you'll be turning in a short writing assignment where you reflect on a group that you're either currently a part of or have been a part of in the past, and think about your group membership, which is a concept we'll be talking about this week and next. Throughout the quarter, right, and I know maybe one cause of concern is I know that a lot of times, like in classes, it's not fun to be in a group on assignments, right? Especially if it feels like your grade is tied to the performance of the group as a whole. So you do not have any assignments like that, right? All of the grades that you'll receive on your assignments are independent. So don't worry about like somebody that's dragging down. You are going to be participating in groups in the class. So there'll be some slots during class for like for participation credit, we'll be involved in a group. And so after that, you'll do an assessment where you talk about your participation with other group members in this class. One thing that I'll be asking you to do is later on in the quarter to observe a small group that you are not a member of. So it could be a club or activity or organization on campus. It could be an organization that meets remotely through things like Zoom meetings. But I'm asking you to choose a group that you're not a part of, go to one of their meetings, and then reflect on what you've learned. Obviously, you want to get permission from that group before you do that. But you'll observe in that outside group. And then after that, at the end of the quarter, each of you will do a short presentation where you talk through what you've learned from your participation in that group. And then I mentioned as well, right? You can come face to face, please do so. You can't come, please join through Zoom. Can't do that, please join through the recording. I also do extra credit. It'll come later on in the quarter. If you do it, it'll add 20 points or 2% onto your final grade. Any questions about anything related to the syllabus or information on Canvas? Awesome. You might have some questions as you're reading and working through stuff as you go into next week. So again, feel free to give that a look. So let's talk a little bit more in the remaining time that we have about small group communication. Some of the things to know, some things that kind of stand out about the process. So first of all, I'm not going to be taking formal attendance until next week just because of all the snow stuff. Mentioned that we have that quiz due next Wednesday, and we'll be going over some stuff this week and next week. What's up?
Earlier you said Sunday.
So normally your quizzes are due on Sunday.
Oh, okay.
Because of the winter stuff this week, I extended the first quiz into next Wednesday. Yeah, normally on Sundays, but get some extra time because of all this. So one way to start out, right, is by thinking about what group communication is. And in other words, it's what you all did at the very beginning of class as you were working together and getting to know each other, right? So group communication is about how we share information with other people, right, who are alike in some particular ways. You found a lot of similarities as you were getting to know each other. Maybe your oldest siblings, so on. Right? But the idea here is that there's something that's in common among members of a group that brings them together. One kind of fun example, right, is how many folks have ever done an escape room? A few of you, right? You're trapped in a little room, you have to solve these puzzles and figure that out to get out. I actually worked for an escape room once. I was like a scientist that was the guide person as people were escaping a zombie infested room. It's kind of fun. But right, in something like an escape room, people are working together because all of you have to get out of it, right? In the same way, it could be members of a culture, for instance, some type of celebration or ceremony or ritual that you do. You're involved religiously or spiritually, right? It could be your event or something like that. Geographically is important, but we also know that there have been a lot of opportunities to do so digitally, using a lot of channels like social media, Discord, TikTok, and so on. So I know that some of you are here having taken a class with me before. How many of you have taken a class in communication before? A few of you. If you haven't, that's totally fine. Welcome, glad to have you. So somebody that's taken a communication class before, I want you to take a stab at what, in your own words, communication is.
There's no way to get ideas out there to other people.
Yeah.
The comp class I took was a presentation for public speaking. So
Yeah.
it's more like presenting.
Yeah. So that looked pretty different. No, but I think you're onto a good point, Noah, right? Presenting information really gets at a lot of it. So communication, kind of in a nutshell, right, is about how we use symbols to exchange meaning. So symbols, right, that can be verbal, that can be saying something, me talking to you. It could be nonverbal, right? It could be your use of facial expressions, rolling your eyes, gesturing, all of that stuff. It can be mediated, right? Texting, doing Zoom, which sounds like a lot of people don't like. I agree. and similar forms of online communication too, right? So communication is more than just talking to somebody face to face. It's more than just journalism. It's more than just media. It's a whole bunch of stuff, right? And the idea is that the symbols that we create shape our reality. They shape our lives, right? If you look at the word dog, it's just a bunch of squiggles, right? It doesn't represent or symbolize a dog. But because through language and development over time, we've given it that significance and meaning, we've attached a sound to it, we've attached an association to it, right? It's gained significance for us and for our lives. So meaning matters because we would be totally stuck and on our own islands, right? If we didn't have the ability to reach other people, to communicate, to understand. So there's a lot of different ways that communication shapes out. Interpersonal communication is one class offered at EOU, and it's about the exchange of meaning between two people, right? So maybe like with partners, siblings, family members, and so on. Intrapersonal communication, communication with yourself, giving yourself a pep talk in the mirror before you have to give a speech for a class. Small group is 3 to 8. That'll be this class, right? We'll generally focus on between 3 to 8 people. Mass communication is a much larger audience. Mediated communication uses things including social media, videos. A lot of folks mentioned liking MCU movies, right? Journalism or print, business communication, right? Organizations and a lot of other areas too. Again, health communication, how do doctors communicate to patients? How are things like health campaigns communicated? That's an area that I specialize in. So there's a lot of different ways that we can engage in communication, and it's a pretty broad area. So there's a lot of reasons to study, in that case, small group communication. And again, for this class, we'll be looking mostly at 3 to 8. So if we think about the number of people in a group, right, it just gets exponentially bigger at the number of possible combos. When you get to 3 people, right, you could have A talking to B, B talking to C, C talking to A and B talking to C, and so on and so on, right? So the amount of permutations you have is just bigger and bigger. There are so many opportunities for members of a group to talk to each other. We're in groups all the time. We don't like it all the time, especially for class, but that's okay, right? It's something that we have to do in our jobs, in our careers, in our lives, in our families. So understanding how and why to communicate in groups and how to do so effectively are tools for living, right? And then lastly, understanding the role that things like culture, language, identity, and so on play in the groups that we're a member of is a really big challenge. My other class, one person brought up that a challenge of being in a good small group is feeling heard, feeling listened to, right? That's something we might feel as a challenge as we're participating in groups. So different small groups have different stages. One of the things that you did at the very beginning of class, right, was the forming stage, where a group was starting to come together. If you're involved in something like fantasy sports or something similar, right, you'll draft a team. Forming is putting together the group. And there's a lot of uncertainty among group members about who the people are and how to get to know each other, right? There were strategies like asking this or that as a way of group members getting to know each other at the beginning of class. So uncertainty reduction theory, right, states that when we're uncertain about other people, we try to get more information, try to figure them out in order to understand and form a better connection with them. So in that stage, a group's starting to come together. In the storming stage, right, you're dealing with some challenges. You're trying to figure out roles. People aren't necessarily on the same page, but they're trying to understand each other. You can think about storming both as brainstorming, right, as well as sort of a storm, like storm clouds. It's challenging and there's some disagreement. Performing, right, would be something like members of a sports team doing a game. It's doing the thing and achieving the goals that your group member had. So at the end of our activity, right, it was you all sharing the things that you had in common with each other. And then a journey, right, is when the group falls apart. It's when things kind of fall by the wayside, maybe group members leave, maybe the task is done and there's no need for the group anymore, and so on. So these are the 4 kind of major stages that we'll be looking at. Again, I'll have this up after class, so don't worry about getting this down word for word. We'll be talking a little bit more next week about some of the different group member types. People, right? If you're a prospective student, you're potential, you're not in it yet. You're a new member early on, you're joining the group. If you've ever transferred, right, and been the new kid at a school, that's that stage. Become a full and respected member. A divergent member might find they're a little bit different than the group. Marginal member is no longer involved, and an ex-member leaves the group. Again, we'll be getting at some of these ideas in a bit more detail next week. So, again, I know we have a lot of ground that we needed to cover for today, and we'll pick up on a lot of these threads when we come back next Monday. But to wrap up, we talked a little bit about what small group communication is, sort of the range of people. We did some small group communication ourselves. We talked about some of the different stages in preparation that becomes involved in being in a small group. And we talked about some of the challenges, apprehension, so on that we might be feeling as we're participating in groups too. So for next class, please come back on Monday and we'll talk about how our group membership or participation or engagement happens and develops over time. Again, thanks for your patience as we've gone through all these snow days. It's great to have you here. And I'm looking forward to a great class. So see you next week and have a good weekend.